From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radio Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media, or Voice of America, on the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang in Review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. met with Mitsubishi Corporation President and Chief Executive Officer Katsuya Nakanishi on Monday to push forward a new wave of potential Japanese investments aimed at boosting jobs, fast-tracking major transport projects, expanding clean energy, and strengthening digital services across the Philippines. In a statement, the president said the discussions focused on investments that would help deliver more reliable subway and railway systems, create employment opportunities, and accelerate the rollout of wind energy projects in the provinces. President Marcos emphasized that these initiatives align with the administration's broader effort to modernize public transportation and improve mobility in both urban and regional areas. The chief executive added that the government is working to diversify the country's energy mix, with renewable energy, particularly wind power, playing a central role in long-term sustainable development. President Marcos Jr. also highlighted the importance of enhancing digital services to make everyday transactions easier for Filipinos as part of the administration's vision for a new Philippines. Mitsubishi Corporation remains one of the Philippines' long-standing economic partners, with major investments in infrastructure, energy, transportation, and industrial development. The meeting reinforces the company's continued role in supporting the government's economic and infrastructure agenda.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Monday said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has gathered key government agencies to make sure the country is fully prepared to host this year's Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN Summit. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro reported that the president met with top cabinet officials directly involved in the preparations. Among them, Foreign Affairs Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro, Trade Secretary Cristina Aldeguer Roque, Information and Communications Technology Secretary Henry Aguda, Social Welfare Secretary Rex Gatchalian, and Science and Technology Secretary Renato Solidum. Castro declared that the Philippines is ASEAN ready as she outlined the administration's push to finalize all requirements for the high-level regional gathering. During the meeting, President Marcos ordered agencies to focus on initiatives that will generate tangible economic benefits not only for the Philippines but for the entire ASEAN community. The chief executive also underscored the importance of supporting development efforts in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM, especially with upcoming Brunei, Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines East Asian Growth Area, or BIMP-IAGA activities under the ASEAN framework.
Pilipinas, ASEAN ready na. Pinulong ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ang ilang mga ahensya ng pamahalaan na may direktang tungkulin sa Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN Summit na gaganapin sa Pilipinas ngayong taon. Kasama sa mga dumalo ng meeting sina DFA Secretary Maria Teresa Lazaro, DTI Secretary Cristina Aldeguer Roque, DICT Secretary Henry Aguda, DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian at DOST Secretary Renato Solido at iba pang mga opisyal ng pamahalaan. Napag-usapan na sa pagpupulong ang mga hakbang na magpapatibay sa panawagang ihatid ang direktang pakinabang sa ekonomiya sa sub-region. Nais din ng Pangulo na mabigyan ng focus ang pagtulong sa Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM para sa idaraos na BIM Iaga ng ASEAN Summit at isa pang mga mamahalagang paksa. Sa ngayon, puspusan na ang pakikipag-ugnayan ng iba't ibang ahensya ng Pilipinas para sa paparating na ASEAN Summit.
Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Monday, Malacañang said it is respecting the ongoing impeachment process against Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., emphasizing the chief executive's confidence that he has committed no wrongdoing. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro issued the statement after the House Committee on Justice ruled that 2 impeachment complaints filed against the president were sufficient in form. Castro added that President Marcos has consistently maintained he violated no law and committed no impeachable offense.
So that's the process. We have to respect that. Even before, sinabi na po ng Pangulo na alam niya na wala siyang ginawang mali, wala siyang ginawang paglabag sa batas, at wala siyang ginawang impeachable offense. Kaya kumpiyansa siya sa sarili niya.
The House Justice Panel voted 46 to 1 and 1 to affirm the form of the complaint filed last January 19th by lawyer Andre De Jesus. A second complaint lodged on January 26 by activists and former lawmakers was also deemed sufficient in form with a 45 to 9 and 1 vote. Deliberations focused mainly on procedural requirements, including signatures and notarization, and wrapped up in about 2 hours. The committee is set to tackle the sufficiency in substance of both complaints in a hearing scheduled for Tuesday, February 3rd.
Dateline Malacañang.
Despite ongoing impeachment procedures in the House of Representatives, Malacañang reported that Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is in good health and attending various meetings. Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro said, the President is in good condition and remains concentrated on his official obligations. Malacañang earlier disclosed that President Marcos suffered with diverticulitis, a non-life-threatening inflammation of pouches in the colon. He was rushed to the hospital and spent a night under medical supervision on January 21st. The President took physicians' advice and skipped public events outside Malacañang, but continued to work, handle paperwork, and attend meetings.
Yung kalusugan po niya, actually po, sinabi ko po, kinakamusta po kayo ni Ana Badjo. Sinabi ko po ang inyong pangalan at sabi naman po ng Pangulo ay mabuti po siya at tuloy-tuloy ang kanyang meeting. Ngayong araw po ay 5 meeting po ang kanyang dadaluhan.
When asked about the impeachment charge filed against the president, Castro stated it was briefly discussed with President Marcos, who reiterated his commitment to constitutional processes. Castro noted that the president's legal staff has yet to begin preparations, as the palace is awaiting developments in Congress. The House Committee on Justice is scheduled to vote on whether the impeachment accusations against President Marcos are sufficient in substance after previously deciding that the complaint was sufficient in form.
Napag-usapan, yes. Ang sabi lang niya ay nandiyan ang proseso at kung anong proseso, igagalang niya. Hindi pa. So alamin na natin kung anong mangyayari sa proseso. So pag nandiyan naman po yung proseso, sasagot na naman po ang Pangulo.
That was Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Tuesday said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has given initial approval to prolong the registration validity of newly purchased vehicles from 3 to 5 years as part of measures to relieve the burden on motorists and expedite government processes. Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro said the Department of Transportation or DOTR Acting Secretary Giovanni Lopez presented the proposal during a meeting with the President in Malacañang. According to the palace, the idea is anticipated to cut the frequency of car registration transactions, shorten waits at government offices, and reduce compliance expenses for motorists, particularly those who own brand new automobiles.
Katulad na sinabi natin, nagkaroon po ng suggestion si Secretary Lopez na gawin na po yung mga new vehicle, ang registration ay imbes na 3 years, ay gawing 5 years. At ipakita po ng Secretary Lopez ang kagandahan po nito. At initial po na naaprubahan ito ng Pangulo at susundan po ito ng mga memorandum na gagawin po ng DOTR. Hintayin na lamang po natin to.
That was Palace Press Officer Attorney Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Still on Tuesday, Malacañang assured the public that the government will be transparent in utilizing public funds for the Philippines' hosting of this year's Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN Summit and related summits. Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. would ensure that no irregularities would occur in the release and use of funds for ASEAN-related events and activities. Castro noted that ASEAN meetings are considered high-profile international events, which may qualify for exemptions from standard open competitive bidding, allowing alternative procurement methods such as negotiated procurement or direct contracting as provided under existing rules. She also responded to criticisms that New Star Resort and Casino in Cebu, the venue for the recent ASEAN-related event, was inappropriate for official functions due to its casino setting, considering the presence of Muslim delegates from ASEAN member states such as Brunei, Indonesia, and Malaysia. She said the government did not violate any protocol in choosing New Star Resort, a 5-star integrated resort used as a venue for international events.
Unang-una po, there's nothing to rectify dahil kung ito naman po ay hotel, casino, at ang nature ng event ay gagamitin po ito para sa isang international event like summit, hindi po para magsugal, wala naman po nilalabag na protocol ang bansang Pilipinas. So iba po kasi ang usapan kung pupunta doon para magsugal. Pero kapag ka po ang hotel, although may kasamang casino, pero ang purpose po ay umattend na isang event, hindi po naman wala po nilalabag na anumang protocol ang Office of the President or ang administrasyon na ito. Patungkol po naman sa sinasabi nating procurement, ang proseso po na ito ay mahigpit po na tinututukan at kasama na rin po ang evaluation, of course, at ang nature ng event. Pero ang katulad pong itong event ay masasabi po nating high-profile international events na karamihan po ay nagko-qualify po for exemptions from standard open competitive bidding, allowing for alternative procurement methods katulad ng negotiated procurement at direct contracting. Nagre-report naman po at makakaasa po kayo dahil ang Pangulo po ayaw po niya ng usapin patungkol sa korupsyon, kaya po makakaasa po kayo dyan.
That was Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Wednesday said Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. welcomed the dismissal of the impeachment complaints against him after the House Committee on Justice declared them insufficient in form and substance. Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro said President Marcos was relieved when informed of the decision, stressing that due process was followed. She said the president has been confident from the start that the complaints lacked merit. Castro also said lawmakers thoroughly discussed the allegations, which helped clarify issues surrounding the complaints. She likewise dismissed claims that the impeachment bid failed due to President Marcos's influence over the House of Representatives, saying even legal experts and constitutionalists described the complaints as weak and lacking merit. President Marcos, Castro said, now wants to move forward and focus on improving the economy and uplifting the lives of Filipinos. The House Committee of Justice declared the two impeachment complaints filed by lawyer Andre De Jesus and the Makabayan Coalition as both insufficient in substance. During the panel's first hearing on Monday, both complaints were deemed insufficient in form.
Dateline Malacañang.
Also on Wednesday, Malacañang hailed the Supreme Court's dismissal of the petition against Executive Order or EO number 94, saying the ruling reinforces President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s push to uncover irregularities in flood control projects and safeguard public funds. Palace Press Officer and Communications Undersecretary Attorney Claire Castro said the decision affirms the President's intent to conduct an independent, comprehensive review of infrastructure projects flagged for possible anomalies. She underscored that the administration is duty-bound to purge government of abuse and ensure accountability in the use of taxpayer money. The Supreme Court junked the petition during its February 4, 2026 en banc session, citing violations of the hierarchy of courts and the absence of an actual case or controversy. Created in September of 2025, the Independent Commission for Infrastructure is currently investigating projects dating back to 2015 and has already filed several referrals involving individuals, including government officials.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday said the government is ramping up investments in education and skills training, using technology to make learning and job opportunities more accessible to Filipinos. Speaking at the launch of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA Skills Passport mobile application in San Juan City, the President described the new platform as a major step in modernizing workforce development. He emphasized that technology now shapes how people learn, communicate, and work, making digital tools essential to national growth. President Marcos highlighted that over 1 trillion pesos has been allotted for education this year, calling it a long-term investment in the country's future. He added that TESDA is set to receive nearly 20 billion pesos in 2026, its biggest budget yet, to expand scholarships and training programs. The TESDA Skills Passport app serves as a digital hub where users can store verified credentials, apply for training and scholarships, search for jobs, and locate TESDA-accredited institutions. It also uses PhilSys verification and blockchain technology to secure user data and ensure the authenticity of credentials. According to the President, the platform will help employers validate qualifications more easily and allow workers to map out their training and career paths more efficiently.
Ito ngayon ang TESDA Skills Passport Mobile Application. Isang hakbang ng pamahalaan upang mas mapalapit ang kasanayan at oportunidad sa bawat Pilipino. Sa panahon ngayon, hindi na talaga maihiwalay ang teknolohiya sa ating mga buhay. Halos lahat konektado sa internet. Halos lahat may access at gamit ang cellphone. Pag-aaral, pakikipag-usap, pati trabaho, digital na rin. Kaya't gagamitin natin ang teknolohiya at ang pagkakataong ito upang makasabay sa takbo ng panahon at mapalawak ang oportunidad para sa ating mga kababayan. Likas namang masipag at mabilidad ang manggagawang Pilipino. Ang kailangan lamang ay mas maraming oportunidad upang magamit ang kanilang galing at pagsisikap. Ang edukasyon at pagsasanay ang puhunan natin para sa isang maunlad na kinabukasan. Kaya, todo buhos ang aking administrasyon ng pondo at suporta para sa edukasyon. Lagpas sa 1 trilyong piso ang inilaan natin para sa edukasyon ngayong taon. Patuloy rin natin pinagtitibay ang suporta sa kasanayan at sa pagsasanay. Sa taong 2026, halos 20 bilyong piso ang inilaan ng pondo para sa TESDA. Ito ang pinakamalaking budget na kanilang natanggap upang mapalawak naman natin ang mga programa sa scholarship at saka mga skills training.
The event was President Marcos's first public appearance since being diagnosed with diverticulitis on January 21st. The chief executive had previously limited his activities to meetings and paperwork inside Malacañang on his doctor's advice, but continued performing his duties.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Friday led the groundbreaking of the new Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila or PLM College of Allied Health Sciences building and inspected facilities at the Hospital ng Maynila Medical Center in Malate, Manila. The 5-story academic building will rise from the retrofitted structure of the old Hospital ng Maynila, a project designed to strengthen public medical education and widen access to quality training for future healthcare professionals, especially students from underserved communities. The facility will feature modern classrooms, laboratories, simulation rooms, research spaces, and faculty offices. It will house PLM's programs in medicine, nursing, physical therapy, medical technology, pharmaceutical sciences, and radiologic technology. The project is expected to address long-standing infrastructure gaps, expand enrollment capacity, and enhance clinical training through partnerships with public hospitals. Founded in 1965, PLM is one of the country's leading public universities, offering a wide range of allied health and professional programs. The new building supports Manila's push to broaden access to higher education by creating an integrated academic and clinical hub for PLM's health sciences courses. After the groundbreaking, President Marcos proceeded to the Hospital ng Maynila Medical Center, where he turned over a 15 million peso check donation to the President Corazon C. Aquino General Hospital in Baseco, reinforcing government support for accessible public healthcare. The President also toured key OMMC facilities, including the mammogram room, MRI room, CT scanning imaging room, and the cardiovascular catheterization laboratory, underscoring the hospital's role as a major healthcare provider for Manila residents. President Marcos likewise visited patients in the pediatric ward during the inspection.
Ang araw na ito, sinagawa natin ang groundbreaking ceremony ng College of Allied Health Sciences Building ng PLM. Ito ay programa ng lokal na pamahalaan na magpapataas ng kalidad ng serbisyong pangkalusugan. Sa pagtatayo ng College of Allied Health Science Building, mabibigyan ng pagkakataon ang nakakabatang henerasyon na aralin ang mga kursong pangmedisina. Sila po ang mga susunod na haligi ng ating sektor ng pangkalusugan. Sa pagbibigay ng pondo upang maipatayo ang itong pasilidad na ito, layon ng pamahalaan na mabigyan ng oportunidad ang mga estudyanteng nangangailangan na makapag-aral sa mahusay na universidad. Inilulunsad din natin ang bagong science courses dito, kabilang na ang medical technologies at radiologic technologies. Higit sa lahat, mahalaga ang programang ito sa paghubog ng mga magagaling na profesional sa larangan ng medisina.
Was Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 12.020 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.665 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our post as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.